Welcome to the Special Forces in World War II podcast, transmitting on this frequency. This broadcast is your dedicated channel for comprehensive intelligence regarding World War II Special Forces operations. Our transmissions encompass in-depth analysis of their strategic maneuvers, cutting-edge equipment, illustrious biographies, and an array of pertinent subjects. The orchestration of these transmissions is executed by the expert team of the Special Forces in World War II website, a squad deeply immersed in the historical theatre. For further insights, visual aids, and captured moments frozen in time, navigate to our virtual headquarters at worldwar2-soft.com. Your immersion into the front lines of knowledge awaits. Over and out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another thrilling episode of our Special Forces in World War II podcast. We're excited to have you join us as we continue our journey through the shadows of history, unearthing the captivating story of Unternehmen Greif. In this second episode, we turn our focus to the Panzer Brigade 150 and its role within this audacious German operation. In our previous episode, we unraveled the intricate preparations that laid the foundation for Unternehmen Greif, a daring plan masterminded by Otto Skorzeny and his team. In this second episode, we delve deeper into the heart of the operation, where Panzer Brigade 150 takes center stage. We traverse the tumultuous terrain of disrupted timelines caused by treacherous traffic jams as the brigade navigates its way through adversity. We end the episode with the preparations that led to Panzer Brigade 150's battle for Malmedy. So prepare to be captivated by the chronicles of Panzer Brigade 150's involvement in Unternehmen Greif. December 16th, 1944. Start of Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein. At 5 o'clock in the early hours of Saturday, Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein is initiated with an enormous artillery bombardment. Around 7 o'clock in the morning, the earliest reports start to come in. The news they bring is not optimistic. The enemy positions at Losheimer Graben seem unaffected by the artillery bombardment, and the American defenders show remarkable resilience in slowing down or even stopping the German advance. Progress by the leading divisions is slow, and by midday, the reports still speak of intense and violent fighting and little noteworthy progress in gaining ground. The vision of the entire front, collapsing under the initial assault, did not come true. By that time, Panzer Brigade 150 has only moved forward to their designated start line for that morning. Skorzeny sends his chief staff officer, SS Hauptsturmführer Adrian von Völkersam, to establish communication with the commanders of his 3 Kampfgruppen. Von Völkersam is ordered to rectify the issues with the wireless communications. When contact is established with Kampfgruppe X and Kampfgruppe Y, Skorzeny is informed by his signals officer that SS Obersturmbannführer Willi Hardiek, the commander of Kampfgruppe X, is killed by a mine. SS Hauptsturmführer Adrian von Völkersam, who is en route to this Kampfgruppe, immediately assumes command. The day progresses without a decisive breakthrough on the front of the 6 SS Panzer Army's front, and by midday it becomes clear that deploying the armored divisions will be necessary to achieve a breakthrough. Hours behind schedule, Skorzeny, at his headquarters in Schmidheim, Germany, finally realizes that his troops can never execute the planned surprise actions. To gain a clearer understanding of the situation, he boards his Kubelwagen and drives towards Losheim, Germany. He sees that the roads are congested with all types of vehicles and sees officers walking alongside their cars to help manage the traffic flow. Skorzeny himself is forced to walk at least 10 kilometers before reaching Losheim. Facing a critical decision, it is evident that the day's objectives will not be achieved. The logical choice is to call off Unternehmen Greif. However, Skorzeny considers the possibility of success if the armoured divisions are deployed that night and could break through the Hohe Venn crossroads. If they succeed, there is still a chance that Panzer Brigade 150 would reach the Meuse River and seize the bridges there. Skorzeny selects 3 teams from his commando unit, Einheit Stielau, that he deems most fitting for the mission of disseminating rumours. Many of the team members are skilled English speakers, mainly sailors, who possess a higher level of self-assurance. Skorzeny sends them in the southern direction, instructing them to search for a weak point in the enemy's front line and skillfully navigate through it. Skorzeny emphasizes the significance of thoroughly reconnoitering the 3 designated roads which the 3 Kampfgruppen are to use for their approach. When returning to his headquarters at Schmidheim, he comes across the first American prisoners of war. Their sight boosts Skorzeny's confidence as he learns that the German attack has caught the Allies completely off guard. However, the situation is at a standstill. The first day has yielded little for Skorzeny, and he hopes that Kampfgruppe Piper can create a breakthrough, allowing his commanders to join in. Just before midnight, Kampfgruppe Piper arrives at the town of Lanzerath, Belgium, and goes into battle. Since Skorzeny and his troops have to wait for the results of the actions of Kampfgruppe Piper, Skorzeny and his troops call it a night. December 17th, 1944. Around 5 o'clock, Skorzeny returns to his headquarters to receive updates on the progress of Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein. The first news that reaches his headquarters is promising. Kampfgruppe Piper has taken the villages of Buchholz and Honsfeld in Belgium, despite strong enemy resistance. Besides that, the Southern Armoured Group reports that they are making significant progress in a westerly direction. With this news, Skorzeny and his staff plan to advance to 6 SS Panzer Army headquarters in the vicinity of Manderfeld, Belgium. A little later, Skorzeny leaves his headquarters to visit Einheit Stielau at Losheim, Germany. The conditions on the roads are even worse than the previous day, with endless columns of vehicles slowly moving forward due to the overwhelming traffic and confusion. Skorzeny attempts to proceed to the village of Dahlem, Germany, by using side roads, which are barely passable. In the narrow and winding valley leading to Stadtkiel, Germany, traffic comes to a halt due to a massive Luftwaffe transporter stuck amidst other vehicles. The truck loaded with V1 parts, seemingly a result of a premature order assuming a more advanced front on the first day. Skorzeny orders them to dump their load, and in just 15 minutes, the road is clear again, and he resumes his journey. Avoiding the main road, they use the Kirchenbach-Stormont Road, expecting faster progress, cautiously passing several uncleared minefields. On the road from Prüm to Losheim, at the Belgian border, Skorzeny observes the aftermath of the opening barrage on the abandoned American headquarters. It appears that there hadn't been much resistance here, as 3 battered, burnt, and smoking Sherman tanks lay by the roadside. When eventually reaching Losheim, Skorzeny has a meeting with a few team leaders of the Einheit Stielau before moving on to Manderfeld, Belgium. That evening, a war council is held at the 6 SS Panzer Army headquarters in Manderfeld, Belgium. The commander of this army, SS Oberstgruppenführer Sepp Dietrich, is also present. He reports that his northern tank group has managed some advancement, although they met some harsh resistance. They captured critical villages in Belgium. Bühlingen is captured during the day and Lineville in the evening. Simultaneously, an ongoing offensive was underway to capture Stavelot. In fact, Kampfgruppe Piper halted for the night, with Stavelot in their sight. Regrettably, the news from the other battlefronts is not that encouraging. It becomes clear to Skorzeny that despite achieving complete surprise during the initial stages, Unternehmen Greif could only have become a success if the Americans would have retreated or surrendered without further fighting. However, the American army shows no signs of a panic flight. Instead, they are already bringing in reserves and fight back on all fronts. The dream of reaching the Meuse River bridges within the next day or two has become increasingly unrealistic. After careful consideration and deliberation, Skorzeny suggests 6 SS Panzer Army headquarters to deviate from the original plans of Unternehmen Greif. His suggestion is approved, and instructions are issued to the Kampfgruppen, instructing them to hold their current positions and to await further orders. Panzer Brigade 150, still engaged in the original battle area, is placed under the command of the 1 SS Panzer Corps Leibstandarte and is to be utilized as a regular infantry brigade. December 18th, 1944. Around 11 o'clock, Kampfgruppe Piper reaches and captures the village of Trois Points after a hard-won victory. This results in the American defenders blowing up the bridges. Later that afternoon, Kampfgruppe Piper also captures both L'Aglaise and Stoumont. By that time, the Kampfgruppe suffers serious ammunition and fuel shortages. Without these essential supplies, any further progress is impossible. Although the Germans managed to bring a few petrol trucks to the front line during the night, the quantities are far from enough for the Kampfgruppe's needs. December 19th, 1944. A new operational risk emerges on the northern flank of the German offensive. The Americans, particularly from the Malmedy area, pose a serious threat with their potential southerly attack supported by fresh reserves. In response to this threat, Skorzeny is tasked with an assault on Malmedy to avert the impending danger. However, given the current disposition of his Kampfgruppen, Skorzeny estimates that his brigade cannot be ready for such an operation before the morning of December 21st, 1944. To get his brigade in the operational area as fast as possible, Skorzeny immediately sends his orders, directing them to concentrate in the vicinity of Ligneville, south of Malmedy. Skorzeny himself also rushes to the village and reports to the headquarters of the 1 SS Panzer Division Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler and discusses the overall situation and assault with the Chief of Staff of the division. As part of a larger offensive launched by the Corps, Panzer Brigade 150 is assigned the task of capturing the strategic road junction in Malmedy. The brigade's objective is on Rollbahn C, located to the north of the route assigned to Kampfgruppe Piper. The purpose of the attack is to flank the American positions on the Elsenborn Ridge, providing support to the 12 SS Panzer Division, which is still engaged to the east, trying to advance beyond Butgenbach, and opening up Rollbahn C to aid Kampfgruppe Piper, which is facing difficulties to the west. Considering the unavailability of artillery support, they decide to launch a surprise attack on Malmedy from 2 directions at dawn of December 21st, 1944. The primary objective is to capture the heights to the north of the town, establishing a fortified position capable of repelling any counterattacks. Despite the challenges, hope glares when a commando team from Einheit Stielau that unintentionally entered Malmedy on December 17, 1944, reports that Malmedy appears to be lightly defended by the enemy. At that time, the roadblocks held by the 291st Engineer Combat Battalion were the only obstacles defending the town. The commando team's leader, an elderly naval captain, tells Skorzeny of how he and his men found themselves among the first houses of Malmedy while wearing German uniforms. Realizing the situation, the captain promptly retreated to Ligneville without any harm. Unknown to Skorzeny is that in the meanwhile, the defences of the town have been reinforced with the 120th Regiment of the 30th Infantry Division, as well as the 99th Infantry Battalion. Besides that, The defenders have prepared the bridges and railways in the area for demolition, and minefields have been laid in order to hinder any German attacks. Unaware of this information, Skorzeny believes that though lacking heavy artillery, his 10 remaining tanks will be sufficient to support the upcoming operation. December 20th, 1944. During the afternoon, Kampfgruppe X and Kampfgruppe Y assemble near Ligneville, Belgium. Unfortunately, Kampfgruppe Z is still absent and can only be considered as a reserve for the following day's attack. Skorzeny devises a two-pronged attack plan. Kampfgruppe Y will attack from the right flank along the N32 road starting from Beaugnies, while Kampfgruppe X will attack from the left flank using secondary roads from Ligneville. Due to the lack of artillery support, Skorzeny hopes for a surprise attack. Unknown to Skorzeny, this hope was in vain since one of his men was captured during the afternoon and had revealed information about the planned attack the following morning. Late in the evening, American intelligence manages to issue a timely warning about the impending attack to the frontline regiments. This warning proves crucial as it allows the American soldiers to be prepared and ready for the upcoming assault. As we end our exploration of Panzer Brigade 150's integral role in Unternehmen Greif and their preparations for the Battle of Malmedy, we have to conclude that our journey through the shadows of deception and valor is far from over. In our next episode, we shift our focus to the harrowing battle that unfolded in the historic town of Malmedy. Join us as we delve into the crucible of conflict, where Panzer Brigade 150 faces a pivotal moment on the battlefield. From the clash of arms to the strategic maneuvers, we'll unpack the challenges, triumphs, and heart-wrenching moments that defined the battle for Malmedy. So, stay tuned and prepare to be immersed in a narrative that captures the essence of courage under fire. Thank you for joining us on this episode of our Special Forces in World War II podcast. Remember to subscribe, leave us your feedback, and be ready to journey with us into the heart of history's most riveting tales. And that concludes this mission briefing, fellow warriors of knowledge. We've navigated through the trenches of information, delving deep into the battlefields of history. As we wrap up this episode in our campaign for understanding, remember that knowledge is your most potent weapon. Stay vigilant and keep sharpening your intellectual arsenal. We'll rendezvous again for another episode, continuing our relentless pursuit of enlightenment. Until then, keep your mind sharp, your curiosity burning, and your determination unwavering. Simultaneously, you are hereby alerted to our outposts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, fortifying our information dissemination. Should you possess any pertinent intelligence to bolster our mission, transmit your findings with no hesitation. Your contributions shall be prominently acknowledged within the operational archives. Furthermore, for those prepared to provide substantial reinforcement, navigate to our Patreon forward base and enlist. Your support is integral to sustaining our forward thrust. Carry forth the legacy. Dismissed.